Hey guys, what is going on? And welcome back to my Halloween Horror Reviews 2021. I hope y'all are enjoying the reviews so far. I am having an absolute blast talking horror films with y'all this month. Moving on with today's review, I am so excited to be talking about this one. Moving on with today's review, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite horror films from the 2000s, and that is 2002's The Ring, directed by Gore Verbinski. And hold up a tick, I just realized two things. One, I'm filming with a ring light. Two, look at today's date and how far away we are from November 1st. 7 days. Either I planned this out pitch perfectly, or two, that is pure coincidence. Either way, that is freaky as hell. In The Ring, we start off by following these two female characters, best friends, who appear to be at a sleepover, and they have a conversation about a certain videotape that one of them hears about, that basically, after you watch this videotape, you get a phone call and you have a voice that tells you 7 days, and it appears that once you hear that phone call, you have 7 days until you're dead. Then it turns out that one of the best friends has seen the tape. She kind of jokes with her best friend, and things start to go awry soon after that, and unfortunately, one of the friends meets her untimely demise. Then after that, we cut to Rachel, played by Naomi Watts, who is a reporter who also happens to have a son named Aiden, and it turns out that the girl who died at the beginning of the movie happens to be her niece. And when her niece's mother asks her to find out what happened, she starts to go on this investigation spree until she comes to the cabin where her niece stayed at. She sees the tape, watches it, and as you can guess, she gets the phone call and she hears 7 days. Alrighty guys, so let's get into The Ring.
Damien!
This movie, guys, The Ring. This movie is something else. Before I continue on, I want to tell you guys about my first time seeing The Ring, and legitimately, this actually happened. I was hanging out with a buddy of mine at the time, and we decided to watch The Ring. I had no idea what it was in for. I mean, he knew I was into horror films. I was like, okay, let's watch that movie. The sequence where Naomi Watts was watching that tape for the first time. After she got the call, she hung up. Guys, no joke, this actually happened. As soon as that scene ended, the phone rang where I was at. My friend at the time and I, we were scared shitless, as you can imagine, because we just thought, oh god, I wonder if this is actually happening right now. And he looked at me going, you're gonna get that? And I said to him, I'm not getting that. I ended up picking up. Turns out it was my brother. Alex, thank you for almost making me crap my pants that day. The Ring, ever since I first saw it, it has scared the crap out of me ever since I first saw it. And when I rewatched this movie in preparation for this review, I have not seen this movie, and I want to say, God, it's been at least over 10 years. It was almost as if I was watching it again for the first time, and I gotta tell you all, rewatching it in preparation for this review, I fell in love with this movie all over again. Before I continue on, I want to point something out here. Let's bring up Rotten Tomatoes here. First of all, the critic score. How is that not higher? But something more important here, and this kind of flabbergasted me to say the least. Bring up the audience score. Are you guys kidding me? It's that low? Did I watch a different movie or something? Because I have no idea what the fuck. Just to clarify, I need to mention this. I have not seen the original film Ring. I've been told nothing but amazing things about it. But I can only imagine this movie did the original film right. Not only is this film a phenomenal remake, but it is legitimately one of the scariest films I have ever seen. This is a movie that takes psychological and supernatural horror, and this is one of those films I feel like that transcends the genre. Naomi Watts in this movie, she brings out in my eyes one of the best performances. Now, I have not seen The Impossible or a couple of other films that she has been in, which I have heard that she is great in. Naomi Watts plays a character that's capable, she is smart, she's a badass in this movie when it absolutely calls for it. There's so much more emotional weight to her character that I did not expect watching it this time around. When you hear her scream, especially the first time when she sees her son Aiden watching that tape, hear her scream this. No! I mean, when I saw this for the first time, I was terrified. When I was watching it recently, I got goosebumps big time. Also, The kid who plays Aiden, which, by the way, fun fact, I was told this by one of my best friends a couple of days ago. Did you know that that kid is now a lawyer? I would have never have called that. Many people were saying that he's just essentially a copy of the kid from The Shining. Once again, if you're a kid and you hear that someone that is very close to you, a cousin, that they had watched the tape and they know they're going to die very soon, how would you process that? I mean, you're probably not going to be the most talkative kid out there, I'm just saying. He's a creepy kid, do not get me wrong, because of what he draws, but other than that, you can only imagine what's going underneath. That's a lot of weight to bear for a little kid like that. And I thought Aiden did a great job in this movie, not only playing this kid who's trying to still struggle with the information that he's given at the same time. When you find out certain revelations that he has been a part of, I mean, especially near the end. Good for him that he's doing something else that he probably loves doing. Seriously, good on him. Another thing that I absolutely love about The Ring, and that's the writing and the screenplay. And I bring this up for one specific reason. This movie is written by Aaron Kruger. Why do I mention his name? Aaron Kruger, if you've been following his career, hasn't had, well, to say the least, the best track record. And I'll bring up 3 primary examples. Roll it. Yeah, he wrote those movies. So as you all can imagine, it blows my mind that he wrote this movie, because this movie script is so good. The writing for this film is great. I love the dialogue in this film. One of my favorite aspects of this movie is not the horror, to which I'll get into later, but the character conversations after Rachel and Aiden have gone to the niece's funeral, and Aiden says to Rachel, basically, when am I gonna die? Rachel goes like, well, you have plenty of time, and he goes like, well, how do you know that? And he's like, well, you're young. You don't have to worry about that so much at the moment. And he said, well, they knew when they were going to die. One of the most natural conversations that anyone has out there is, when are they going to die? How are they going to die? How long do we have? It's a legit thing. And I just kept on thinking, oh my god. One of my favorite scenes in this movie, and this legitimately almost brought a tear to my eye when I was rewatching this film. It's a sequence where Aiden and Noah, who is the ex-boyfriend, also Aiden's father, are talking to one another. Noah says to Aiden, I would not be a good father to you. And the conversation that they have, again, I was not expecting this movie to be as deep and as human as I thought it would. Well done to the screenplay. Well done, Aaron Kruger. Again, another thing that I absolutely love about The Ring is Gore Verbinski's direction. This is a movie that from the very start, from that very first shot, that establishing shot of the house, to that final shot of Rachel looking at that tape. But this is a movie that Gore Verbinski absorbs you with the storytelling, the performances, and of course, with the atmosphere, because this movie is drenched in it. Gore Verbinski directs one haunting movie. And man, the directions that Gore Verbinski takes this movie. Now, once again, I have not seen the original film Ring. I do want to see it because I have heard many people just praise that film to no end, so I'll see it at some point. Who knows? Maybe for next year's Halloween horror reviews. Who knows? Again, Gore Verbinski was an absolute genius with this movie, and I hope he comes back to the horror genre because, man, he seemed he was right at home. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this might be his first horror film. He directs this movie like a seasoned pro. This movie, The Ring, is one gorgeous looking movie. One of the things that I absolutely love about the look of this movie is how the location, in a way, just influences the look of this movie. The Ring is set in Seattle, and if you guys have been to Seattle, I have not. I've only been told things about Seattle. Seattle is a very gloomy town. I mean, the weather, it rains all the time from what I've told, so it only makes sense that The Ring is a very gloomy looking movie. I mean, it has a very desaturated palette with moments where colors do shine. I just love how the location and the weather of Seattle influences the color palette of this movie. And Bojan Bozelli's cinematography, which, by the way, I do apologize if I muffed up the pronunciation of your name. I do, because seriously, this guy's a great cinematographer. Same guy who shot Cure for Wellness, which, by the way, gorgeous looking movie as well. The way they stage certain scenes, the way they move the camera, and by the way, one of my favorite shots of this entire film. It is a sequence where Katie is trying to look for Becca, her best friend, and she notices that the TV in one of the areas in her room is on. Not in her room, but in her house is on. And it's that shot where she is looking on the TV, she turns it off again, and the way the camera moves, it's just, again, subtle things like that I absolutely love about this movie. Let's go on to the music of this movie, and I cannot believe I did not catch this on. But guess who composed the music of this movie? Hans Zimmer did. When the score goes big and the moment it needs to go big, it absolutely does. But what I love about Hans Zimmer's music for the most part is that, at least in my eyes, Hans Zimmer uses a very minimalistic score of this movie. And one of the things I absolutely love, and maybe it's just me that's thinking about this, there are two scenes in this movie. There is one specific one that I'm thinking of right now. It's when Aiden goes up those stairs and goes into his cousin Katie's room. When he goes up those stairs, the score here reminds me so much of Silent Hill. It's haunting, and it's one of my favorite scores in a horror film. I mean, he really does compose a couple of tracks that will legitimately give you goosebumps like that they did for me. To say that this movie is scary is an understatement for me. The Ring, in my eyes, is one of the scariest horror films I have ever seen. It takes a lot to really scare me in a horror film. It takes a lot because I love a great horror flick. But man, I gotta tell you, in that first 5 minutes alone, it set me on edge. The directing, but most importantly, the atmosphere. The Ring, more than anything else, is a horror film that is soaked and drenched in atmosphere. Even more so, what this movie does to pull you in and very subliminally is brilliant, especially after Naomi Watts watches that tape for the first time. And also, the first time that you see that tape, or the thing doing its thing, when you see Rachel's niece Katie die, something that I love about this movie is this when it comes to the horror aspect. Her death comes so fast and sudden that it's like the movie is just doing everything so fast to the point where you can't even wrap your head around it. But oh my god, in terms of imagery, the first time I saw that body, and more recently when I was watching preparation for this review, when I saw Katie's body with that fucking face, I legitimately went like this when I was watching it recently. Okay, what the f— that is nightmare fuel right there. The tape of The Ring is one of the most haunting things you'll probably ever see in a horror film. The ladder, the chair, someone brushing their hair, but there's something about that tape that just screams creepy. And the moment that you get to seeing The Ring in that well, in between those certain images, there are other images, like for example, this one, and this one. One particular thing that I love about that tape is after Rachel uses that tape for the first time, afterwards, there are certain things that come from that tape that Rachel sees in the real life. I gotta talk about something else with the horror. In particular, the jump scares in this movie. You guys knew I was gonna bring this up. The sequence where Noah, oh my god, that scene. It still freaks me out to this day when Samara comes out of Noah's TV and then bam, just like that, in a split second when he looks into her eyes. Samara is one of the freakiest little girls you've ever seen in a horror film. Do not get me wrong there. But one thing in particular that I was not expecting was the backstory with her and her parents. That backstory is so tragic and so sad that at one specific point, even though she is going around killing people that have watched this tape, in a way, I felt bad for her because of her parents and what they did to her. I mean, again, it's fucked up what she did to her parents, but still, it's like, it's a catch-22 here. She comes off like a simple, innocent girl, but her delivery in the scene gives me shivers every time.
Happy parents, you old fuck!
The only thing I can possibly think of in terms of an issue is this, and this is so minute it doesn't detract my love for this movie whatsoever, but there's a scene where Naomi Watts falls into that well, and she looks like she takes some damage going down that well. But when she gets up, and when there's a camera doing it like a 360 on her, she comes out without a scratch. I mean, shouldn't she have at least had a cut, or at least a bruise? So overall, The Ring is an absolutely phenomenal film, and not only is it one of my favorite horror films from the 2000s, but this just might be one of my favorite horror films, period. From the directing, writing, performances, cinematography, the music, and combining all of that with some of the freakiest things that I have ever seen in a movie. Simply put, I absolutely love The Ring, so all in all, I am absolutely going to give The Ring a 5 out of 5 stars. Guys, I could gush about this movie all day long. I absolutely love this, and I can guarantee you I'm going to watch it again right before Halloween ends. I love this movie so much. So comment down below and let me know. Have you guys seen The Ring? What did you think? Did you love it or did you even hate this movie? Let me know below. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I'm also on Snapchat, so if you want to follow me on all those social media platforms, all the links in the usernames in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed my review of The Ring. If so, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for whenever the latest video of mine goes live. If you guys want to see any of my previous 2 reviews, please click either right there or right there. And of course, until my next review of my Halloween Horror Reviews 2021, I will see you all next time.